How do you go from battling addiction for over a decade to building one of the fastest growing roofing companies in your city in under a year? That's exactly what Cole Haynes is doing. In 2023, he launched Escalade Roofing from scratch. No investors, no roadmap, just grit, faith, and an unstoppable drive to create a better life for his family. Now he's leading a storm-ready team that signed over 50 contracts in a single week, and he's aiming to break $10 million in revenue this year. In this episode, Cole reveals how he built a high-performance sales team from friends, gym buddies, and sauna conversations. The tech and systems he's using to handle this explosive growth, and why door knocking, Google reviews, and BNI networking are still his top lead sources. Also, he talks about how faith, discipline, and content are driving his company culture. If you're early in your journey or pushing past that $3 million mark, this episode is packed with real, raw advice you can put into work right now. Let's jump in with Cole Haynes from Escalade Roofing. Welcome to the Roofing Success Podcast. I'm Jim Aline, and I'm here to bring you insights from top leaders in the roofing industry to help you grow and scale your roofing business. Cole Haynes.
What's up?
Escalade Roofing.
Yes, sir.
How's North Carolina these days?
Well, it's a lot better since we just got 2.5 inches of hail a couple of days ago. Yeah, March 16th hit us good all through the heart of our main city. So life is good. The guys are out there crushing it right now, signing contracts like crazy. So it's a good day for sure. We needed it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. We'll talk about a lot of the preparation and how you got to to be able to capitalize on that on the storm when it comes through. But give the listeners a little bit of background on you and Escalade.
Yeah. So my life story, like I grew up in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and then kind of like grew up in a rough life. I was raised by an alcoholic father, and I was surrounded by drugs a lot of my life, and so I struggled with addiction for like the first 15 major years of my life. So from like 12 until I was like 30, I was deep in addiction. So that was a big part of me and going through it, just trying to get out of it. And so I moved to North Carolina to kind of escape that, because a lot of my friends were getting shot and we were just in bad group of people. So I tried to escape it, moved to North Carolina, and then I kind of got right back in it. Like addiction, just kind of takes over. So I do have that story where, addiction and alcoholism had a hold of me, but I did overcome it. I found God and he gave me the power over those things, and I got deliverance from it. And so life is much better now. So met my wife here. I was married once before. I've got 3 kids with her. Divorced, and then I'm remarried now. I've got a 2-year-old with my other wife from South America. So she's from Colombia. So very happy. So how I got into roofing though was I was teaching at a school. I was a network administrator. I was always in technology and stuff like that. And so I ran the network over there. My daughter starts dating this boy. His dad owns a roofing company, but he's just a sub, and he's doing 19 roofs a week. And so he's coming up in these huge trucks, and I'm like, man, that dude's got some money. And then, so she starts dating him, and I get in his house. He's got marble floors. I mean, it looks like one of those Colombian houses, just like marble, crystal chandeliers, like keypads on every door. And he's rebuilding the house to like 2 and 3 stories, and redoing the attic space and the frame, like the basement and stuff, just building it out. I'm just like, dang, like must be nice, And so get in there and I'm in his house. He's like, yeah, you can make a lot of money if you want to sell some roofs for me. I was like, dude, I could sell anything, just tell me what to do. He sets up an appointment with another business owner. He was doing roofs as a subcontractor. So one of the roofing business owners takes me on an inspection because I sold a roof through my friend at church. So I get up on the roof. He's like, that's hail, that's wind. It was like the perfect inspection. It showed exactly what hail and wind was. So after that, like I got that first check for like $1,000, and I was like off to the races after that. So I think I would say like that 3 months that I was off for summer vacation when I was teaching, I did at least 50 roof contracts, sold, made about $70,000 that summer. And then just took off, from there. And then the way I got out of it was, I told him, I was like, I'm building your business, like you had 0 5-stars on Google and you've got 67 5-stars now. Like, can we talk about maybe some equity? Like, you bring me as a partner. And he just kind of chuckled, like laughed at me, like, you're crazy. Like, no. And then I was like, all right. And then, that was in my mind, like he's never going to partner with me. And so then I sold like a $70,000 metal roof, and I was figuring out what's labor, what's material. So, and he was telling his crews, don't tell Cole nothing, don't tell Cole how much I'm paying you for labor. Don't tell Cole, the suppliers, don't tell him how much the materials are. He was trying to hide it all. And so I found out, and like, I figured out how much we profited on that metal roof. It was like 40 grand. And then he gave me a check for 5,000. And I was like, dude, like we had an agreement, like 60-40 on the profit, we split, like it was a handshake thing. But I mean, I think I did over $2 million in sales with him, my first year. And so I was doing supplementing too. I learned Xactimate. I was doing all the supplementing stuff. So at the end of it, he owed me like $70,000 in supplements, $7,000 in roofs, like 7 roof payments, never saw a dime of it. But got out and like off to the races again. March 2023, we started Escalade Roofing and basically just did it all over again by myself. And that was the best thing that ever happened to me. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's cool. Like it's the opportunity in roofing is so tremendous. And it's crazy. It was Martin Pettigrew that I've had on a couple times. He talks about it too. He was, I think he was he was working at a golf club, and like these guys would pull up in these big trucks, and like he's like, "What do these guys do, man? Like, these are like, I got to do something like that." And it's amazing how just seeing it can give you the kind of the motivation to achieve it, right? Like it's something that's something real special. Okay, so you hit the ground running, right? Like this is it. Now I know what I'm. I know what I know. I know what maybe you don't know what you don't know. But like, what have been the biggest challenges? Because you're not. Let's just from our conversations, you didn't try to start off slow.
Yeah. So I remember him telling me, you can't make over $2,000 on a roof, Cole. Like that's crazy. You can't make more than 2,000. And I was like, so I always thought, okay, well, we're only making 2,000 on this roof. So I sold my first little roof, in March when I started it, and I made like 5 or 6 grand on it. So I was like, all right, well, he's a liar, And so that was just like that moment when I saw that, it was just like, man, we're going now, the opportunity for my family, to provide like a better life. It just lit a fire in me that was just crazy. And I would just say anybody that's starting out, starting a company or trying to get your sales going, you got to get out there and just knock those doors, the first year, I would say. So I'm never probably going to have to knock another door again if I don't want to, but I like to actually knock doors because it's just right there. I mean, it's money just coming to you. It's just, if you can show that customer why, you're the guy for the job. Like, I mean, it's just really easy to sell at the door. So, yeah, I mean, I would just say, and what was your question again, Jim?
Some of the biggest challenges that you faced, like what are, cause you, like I said, yeah, from our conversations, you hit the ground running, man. You're like, I'm going, this is all and everything. We're going hard. In my experience, when I run like that, I break stuff. And so, what stuff did you break along the way, and what lessons have you learned from that?
Yeah, so I'm the same type. Like, I mean, I'm just like from a fire hose. Like, I'm just gonna go and seek and kill everything in my path. And my father-in-law would tell me I'm like a bull in a china shop. I'm just gonna go in there and just go crazy and get it done. But the challenges would be, in starting out, you got to make sure you have everything done legally. You've got to make sure you have all your licenses, your permits, your insurance, general liability, or workers' comp, and starting out, just making sure everything is done, legally is the main thing, and then also you go through a lot of crews. Like my first year in the beginning of from March to like the summer, I had like 30 or 40 1099 installer guys. And like, I'm like going through this audit right now. It's like, yeah, you got 40 subcontractors used in 6 months. And I was just trying to find the best ones, And so you go through some of those installers that maybe aren't the craftsmen, maybe they're not the ones that know copper work or know how to do a TPO flat roof, And so filtering through and finding those good crews. Cause I mean, a lot of those other roofing companies, they're not going to tell you who the best crews are. They're not going to try to help you. They want you to fail. So just going through that and, just finding you a good crew. I mean, I was picking up a crew at ABC Supply, talking to a guy like in the parking lot. Hey, you do roofing? Yeah, I do roofing. And it's like, all right, well, I hope you're good, and then just monitoring them and making sure they know what they're doing. And so that's some of the challenges, is just making sure you're legal, making sure that everything's, done up to the quality that you're setting the standard for. Because my goal when I started Escalade Roofing was to never have an unhappy customer. And that was in my mind. And that's what I trained my employees. It's like, we will not allow an unhappy customer. And you see that in our Google reviews. And we have over 125 Google reviews. They're all 5 stars. And nobody's ever put a bad one in there except for another roofing company. I'm convinced it was another roofing company that gave us a bad review. And so we responded professionally, and, it is what it is, but it's still there. But yeah, we pride ourselves in when we step on the customer's lawn, they become family.
Yeah, that's awesome. What have been some of the things that have been most helpful, or what are the lessons that you've learned in hiring crews? What are you looking for? What questions are you asking them before you hire them? How do you find the good ones?
I would say the copper. If they do copper, you automatically know these guys know what they're doing. So copper is a good telltale sign of like the best of the best crews, because the copper guys are the ones that know how to fabricate metal. They know how to mold and shape metal. And those are typically the best ones. And also TPO crews. If they do flat roofing, typically if they have that type of work behind them, they've had training in shingles and other things like that. Also make sure that they have their workers' comp insurance. Because in the beginning I had crews that I was hiring, and they told me they had workers' comp, and then they didn't have it at that time. And so I got hit with a big insurance bill at the end of the year. Like, yeah, they didn't actually, they weren't carrying the policy during that time that you were using them. So I had to pay for that workers' comp insurance bill that they didn't have. So just making sure your crews have workers' comp insurance. That's very important. And I would just look for the guys that know custom copper, and those are usually the ones that are the best.
So one of the things you said is, when you started out, you went door to door, like, and that's what I think. I think in the beginning you have to be aggressive about acquiring business. Another person I've had on the podcast, Juan Reyes, and he didn't even know how to bid a roof. He went out and printed 250 business cards and went door to door until someone said yes. And then he found a crew that would help him bid the roof. There's this motivation that you need to have to get to a job, and those jobs come door to door. Were there recent storms? Or were you just like, I just need work, I'm going to go get it?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of that's just figuring it out as you go, right? And like, when you mess something up, like, you're never going to do that again. So, but you're learning in the moment. So I would tell my guys, like, just get out there and mess some stuff up. I mean, don't make a big mess, but get out there and just be vulnerable. And that's the best way that you're going to learn. You have to allow them to make those types of mistakes.
Right on.
If you're just going to hold their hand and tell them exactly what to do every time, it's almost like I'm trying to replicate myself and my experience in every single one of my guys. And so just being strategic about that, like, don't hold their hand and tell them every little thing. It's like, give them the tools, but also allow them to mess up so that they are learning, that's very important.
And I would assume that's for yourself too when you're getting started, right? Like, go out there and understand that you're not gonna have the best pitch. Yeah. You may screw this up. You may bid this job incorrectly. Mm-hmm. You may have to eat something on this one, right? You may have to I think we need to understand. I heard a great quote recently, and I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but it's we're practicing for things in the future that are unimaginable to us now. And I loved that it was from a guy named Myron Golden, and I love that he used the word practicing.
We're always learning. Like Martin Pettigrew says, 1% better every day.
1% better, man. Like
better every day.
We got to give ourselves that grace, right? And so how did you overcome that mentally? Like, was it just that you had, the faith in the outcome? What was it that allowed you to just go out there and go for it? Like, all right, I'm leaving this company. I'm starting a new company. I'm going to go get business. Like, what were some of those things that for you?
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of got lucky because I learned how to grow a roofing company before I started my own. I basically built his business from the ground up because he was only subcontracting jobs. So I kind of used that year to sell and to learn because I learned how to create his brand. I learned how to grow his Google reviews. I learned how to knock doors, and I messed up a lot of stuff under his name, which didn't hurt my name. So now, a year later, when I'm starting Escalade, I'm off to the races. I know how to get the insurance. My wife has her business, degree too, and marketing degree. So she's kind of like the spaghetti monster in the sky. Like nobody sees her much, but she's like, the puppet master, working all the things in the background with the brand and the content, and, things like that. So we make a good little duo. But yeah, I mean, there's just so much to it. You just keep getting better every day. I mean, there's so much things that you can do after knocking doors, Now I'm going into these B&I groups, and I heard networking group was really good. And so now I've got a networking group, B&I Greensboro. I've got my COO in High Point, and I've got another guy, sales guy in Kernersville. And so we've got these networking groups where all these insurance agents, these real estate companies, property management companies are all, and the thing about B&I is you're loyal to the group. And so your focus is to give referrals to the other people. And the more referrals that you give, the more referrals that you receive. And so that's just a huge thing too, is just, I would say, get into a networking group. It's going to really grow your network in your local community and help connect you to other businesses that are successful. The other thing where I learned at Dimitri's conference in 2023 of December, I kept hearing Eustis Roofing, Monarch Roofing, and all these big companies. They just kept saying content, make content. And at the beginning, I was like, that doesn't make sense. I don't know. It's content. What is content? Who cares? But then that's what all the huge companies were saying. That's how they grow their business, making content. And so I know you could speak to that. You got a big deal making content in a podcast. And so I just went super heavy and I started living my life on camera, basically showing people my family and, doing cool videos in my personal page, and also running Escalade Roofing page and showing what we do every day. And content was key. Content's huge for growing your business. Even as a sales rep, if you're up there on a roof and you sold a roof and you do a customer testimonial real quick, it's hey, I'm here with Mrs. Johnson. We just got our roof approved by her insurance company. She's super happy, and just be excited. And can you, just give us a quick testimonial on your experience with Escalade Roofing? And then she's like, da da da. 20 seconds, but then boom, like that customer testimonial goes out to thousands of people. And if you can share it into local Facebook groups too, then you're getting it in front of 30,000 local people in your city. And there's just so many ways to grow your business through networking content and referrals. Referrals is massive too.
Yeah, customer content and authentic. Like a lot of times you think maybe you need to hire a guy like Patrick Carr or someone to come out and do some real.
I used it.
Patrick's awesome. Like there is a time for that professional content.
Yeah.
But on the other side of that, just pulling out your phone and having a conversation with a homeowner, boy, that is impactful.
Yeah. It's like a live Google review.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing the opportunities that we miss on a day-to-day basis.
If you did one of those every day or, once a week, like what that could do for you. I mean, it's bringing 3 customers to you, it's just like I've heard people say, like, it's not so much about the quality, it's more so about the quantity. Cause like Brad Lee would say, I'll take somebody like me that's going to go out and knock 10 doors versus somebody, that's just starting out that's going to go and knock 100 doors. That guy that's knocking 100 doors is going to kick my ass every time. That's what he said. So it's because the numbers are just multiplying. Like you do want quality. Quality is super important, but the guy over here producing the quantity is just going to crush you out. And so that's what I do really good at. It's like, I just go just crazy. I'm just doing massive quantity on all levels with the content, with the networking groups, with the knocking doors, with the, just everything, kind of like just pour it all in,
Yeah, as much activity as possible, because that activity leads to more activity, and that activity leads to more activity, and it's such a snowball effect. You made a comment that you don't even really have to go out and knock doors anymore, right? Like you is that from the referral network that you've built then?
Yep. So yeah, I mean, I would never have to probably knock another door if I didn't want to. And now my schedule's getting so crazy, I can't even really get out there anymore with the business growing. Just because I have so many real estate agents that know me as their roofer. I have so many property management companies that know me as their roofer. So many general contractors that know me, insurance agents, local agents, farm bureau, state farm agents, all state agents that know me as their roofer and refer me to their community, to their customers. And so it's just, and they have my cell phone. I give my cell phone out to everybody because they can go to the office number too, but I mean, the office number gets flooded. So, I want people to come to me because I know it's going to get done when it comes through my phone. I love texting because, you shoot me a text, I'm on top of it. We're going to get it done immediately, get it scheduled, whatever it is. And so just surrounding yourself with those types of people in those relationships and companies. Like, for example, I went to my B&I group last Friday. I was visiting another chapter and there was this lady in there. I had just met her and the week before. And she said, "Oh, I got a referral for you." And she said, she referred it. She sent me the email and I looked at it. It was 1,715 HOA buildings that she wanted replaced. And it was like, she's like, "Well, I hope you get it, go bid on it." And she's like, "It's with this company." And I was like, "Oh, we're already with that company. So we're already on the vendor list for that company. And we have the HOA vice president's referral for us." So those kinds of things right there is just, it's a game changer. Those relationships equals sales.
Man, that's the web that gets woven, right? Like, oh yeah, you should bid on this. Oh yeah, we are, and they know us. And now you have another person that's recommending you from this side and that side, and the other side. That's really powerful. I think that I talk about this in terms of the kind of your foundational business. Like if you turned off all marketing, what would you do this year? Right? Like, and door to door is different, right? Like that's, we'll throw direct sales and marketing. Like if you just turned everything off, but we're allowed to receive referrals, what would you do this year? Right? Like that's a good question to ask. The more people you do good work for, the more people you build relationships with, the higher that base becomes.
Exactly.
Right? That foundation continues to grow. And there's, everyone knows that company that's been around their area for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who they are.
Every day. Yeah.
They don't show up on Google. They don't
They don't knock.
They don't knock doors. They just answer their phones sometimes.
And they quote 3 times higher and they get the work. Yeah.
And they get the work, right? Like that is the outcome of what you build along the way, right? That's the outcome of it.
Of being somebody that they know, like, and trust.
That's right. And you mentioned that you really wanted to make sure that you had a great customer experience. How have you gone about shaping that? Because that's there's a lot that goes into it. Before we carry on with the episode, let's give a shout out to one of our sponsors. I talk to contractors every day that feel stuck. Not because they're not working hard, but because they're missing the structure to growth without chaos. Or their culture's falling apart because their team's unclear, unaligned, or just burned out. And when change hits, they're reacting instead of leading because time and priorities aren't under their control. Day 41 Thrive helps to fix that with proven strategies for growth, culture, and leadership that actually work. Ready to thrive beyond the storm? Visit the link in the description or visit the Roofing Success Podcast website on the sponsors page to start your journey today. You really wanted to make sure that you had a great customer experience. How have you gone about shaping that? Because that's there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah. So one of the things that I would tell myself in the beginning when I started the company was, I'm not going to allow the company to ever have an unsatisfied customer. And so that was what I would say is like, when we step on your lawn, you become family. And that's what I tell all the team, that's the mentality, right? It's like, we're going to treat you like we would our grandma, like our mom. And that's how we do things. And so, and we haven't had that bad review yet. So we do have over 125 5-star reviews, and we've worked hard for that. And there is always those difficult customers, right? And they try to make it tough. And like, for example, there was one customer that we put on an Owens Corning duration. It was an Owens Corning duration roof, and the supplier sent Owens Corning Oak Ridge, but duration was on the order. And so we put the whole roof on. Everything was perfect. The color was right. It looked beautiful. But this guy was like a he was a doctor. He read into every little detail of the roof. And he said, well, these, shingles are this thick, and the duration is this thick. And, this is unacceptable. And just was one of those just like super difficult. And so we ended up just like, all right, well, we're just going to take it off and we're going to put you a duration roof on because that's what you want. And so those are the kind of things that maybe it takes you lose, $4,000 or you break even or whatever it might be. But you keep that customer happy and you keep those Google reviews 5 stars. And I just won't allow a 1-star review. Like it can't happen. And even 4-star reviews like make me mad. Like I've had a 4-star review and it's like, yeah, you guys were awesome, but there was just this one little thing. And, well, let's fix it, and let's get that Google rating up to 5. And so, that's super important because your reputation on Google is your everything,
It's everything. People trust online reviews more than a recommendation from a friend or family member.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
If you think about it, right? Like, yeah. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But that social proof is impactful. But the other aspect of that is that you did the right thing. and you know, if you're not doing a lot of work, that may impact you financially a little bit more than if you are doing a lot of work, right? But at the same time, like the impact on that homeowner
long term,
what they will say about you long term is, man, they actually made a mistake, put the wrong shingle on, tore it off, and put the correct shingle on. Like that is sometimes more, that story can be more impactful than they did a good job.
It's the ripple effect, for sure. I mean, imagine if they go and give you a 1-star review and they say, I ordered this, and then, they put on this, and this company's lying, it's not honest. And then it's like your whole reputation is destroyed over that one little thing. And it's like, dude, reputation is so important. I mean, nothing's more important than integrity in the company,
Yeah. So now you're, what do you have? You have about 10 reps this year. Is that what you're running?
10 reps, and I've got a recruiting manager now. We're recruiting pretty heavy. We just got a 2.5-inch hailstorm in the heart of our city. It went through all the major cities connected to that city, and so over 200,000 homes were destroyed. I think we've signed over 50 contracts in the first week. So, hallelujah.
So now you have a couple of challenging things ahead, right? You've hired more reps. You're hiring even more reps. You're in the middle of a storm that you're trying to capitalize on. How are you thinking about it and preparing to train these reps properly so that you still continue to get that great customer experience?
Yeah, so we have a door-to-door university. We went through door-to-door experts with Sam Taggart, and we have that D2D university. So we do about 14 days of training on the computer, split with about 14 days of shadowing with the top reps. And so they'll do part of the day in the office, and then they'll go out the second part of the day and follow those guys around and really listen to those guys that are being successful and getting them trained. And I've noticed that we're trying to bring in all these people and stuff, but not everybody's built for this thing. It's not for everybody, but those that do have the gift or are coachable and can learn this thing can do exceptionally well at it. My top sales rep, Rob, he sold 27 roofs in his first 6 months. He made, I think, $90,000 his first 6 months, and then won the Rolex. He won the end of the year Rolex last year. And then now he's going crazy in this storm, dude. I think he sold like 20 contracts in the past week and a half, 2 weeks. He's just a door knocking machine. He grew up very poor in Virginia. And, I think I grew up poor. I think people that grow up poor, just when they find this thing and the ability to provide something for your family, it just lights the fire in you like no other. And I mean, he'll knock doors all day long, and he'll get 3-4 contracts a day consistently in big old huge neighborhoods. And that's what it takes. I mean, you got to put the grind and the grit into it and go knock the doors. But he's just a sweet old country boy, and people can't tell him no.
How do you put that grit and grind into someone? Or how do you, if they don't have it, how do you determine that, they're not, that we can't put the effort into that? Or, maybe you have something, I see something. Where are you at with that?
Yeah, so I've heard people say that they'll hire C players and they'll keep C players because they can get a little bit out of them. But I look at it differently. I say that we're only looking for A players, and you might be a B player now, but we're going to get you to become an A player through the training, through the time that we spend with you, because we're trying to win the Super Bowl. We don't want to lose in the playoffs. We don't want to. We're all competitive. There's a lot of athletes that work for Escalade too, and athletes are great salespeople too, because athletes don't like to lose. And so when you throw a leaderboard up there and you throw a competition board, and then you're like, all right, this week whoever signs the most contracts gets $2,000 cash, and then it's like, oh my God, like I was thinking like $100 cash. Like, you're going to give us $2,000 cash, and that is going to just make them go crazy and knock doors. And when you have the tools to track it and give them the tools to be successful, like SalesRabbit, we use RoofLink as our CRM, and SalesRabbit is an application where you can go and track every door that you've been to. You can say if the customer signed. You can say if they're not interested. You can say if it has visible damage. You can say if they're not home. And so then you can assign these little areas out to these where 2.5-inch hail hit. You're going to circle an area, and you're going to have that rep go to that area, and they're going to go and they're going to keep track of that neighborhood. Really cool tool. I recommend SalesRabbit. RoofLink is a really good CRM. RoofLink actually just sold to SalesRabbit. SalesRabbit bought RoofLink.
They did, yep.
And so we got a good deal on SalesRabbit because of that merge. So,
yeah. So how are you tracking your sales team? What are the important metrics that you feel, the most important metrics that you feel that they need to hit on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis to determine if they're going to be successful or for them to find success?
So before, we weren't even tracking these guys, and that was a big mistake. It was like, well, just kind of go do what you can do, but then I joined Rise Up Kings, and I joined a mastermind. It was like for Christian business owners, and my battle buddy at Rise Up Kings, he's actually a billionaire. His name's Troy Duhan. He owns Premier Auto, one of the biggest car dealerships in the United States. And so Troy, I told him, like, I was like, we don't have an office, and I'm working out of the house. And he's like, what? And it's amazing what a relationship will do for you, right? Like somebody that, like Randy Hurtado, shout out to Randy Hurtado. I love him, man. Like, he's just a good dude. Like, he's in the industry, DT Roofing out of Texas.
Yep.
He's so helpful, man. Like, I can call him anytime, and he's just like, do this. And it's like, cool. Like, that you've been in the industry for 3 years. You've already messed this up. I know the answer. So those types of relationships are worth the weight of gold, And so who was I talking about before, Randy?
You're from Rise Up.
So Rise Up Kings, Troy, he I'm telling him I don't have an office. He's like, dude, like, get an office, how are you going to speak life into your people? How are you going to light fires into them every day? How are you going to encourage them? We were having like a meeting at a sales meeting at a coffee shop once a week. And it's like, all right, so now we bought this office space, and ever since then, in the month of August of last year, we did over 500,000 in sales our first month as an office. And so that was huge. Like, you have to have an office to train, to motivate, to teach to get these guys on fire. And then the way that we started, and then Troy also said this, he said, there's a saying that says, like, that which you track will improve faster. And so we weren't really tracking much. Like, it was just like, all right, well, sign a contract every day. But then we started like making the guys in the sales meetings like, all right, let's go up on the board. What do you got this week? How many contracts have you signed? How much revenue did you do? How many doors did you knock? How much retail jobs did you do? And then, but there's like, we wanted to keep it simple, but there's like 5 or 6, right? Just things to make them accountable for, this is what you have to do. So the first week we started tracking it, everybody went up there and wrote 0. And I'm like, 0? Because I went up there and I wrote like 10. I had 10 for me. And then the next week you could see like, oh, okay, here's a 2, there's a 3, Rob's got a 5. And then as soon as we started tracking and making them write it up on the board, the numbers just improved drastically.
Yeah, it will create a big impact on your business. And then it also will really help you make better people decisions. Like,
right. Easy to let them go. Yeah. I mean, it's like, man,
easy to let them go, or just even simply like, man, what's going on?
Yeah,
You know,
invest more. Yeah, and
like,
invest
you
more.
know, are you having trouble at the door? Are you having trouble at the kitchen table? Where are you having troubles? Let's see if we can fix that. And then if you can't fix that, you know, maybe it's not right for you. Maybe, you know, maybe we have another role for you. Maybe we don't but having the metrics out there, the most important metrics that you could track on that for that role on an ongoing basis is super, super impactful. What are you doing to ensure that your team is getting the Google reviews? Because you've done a great job yourself, but now how do you transfer that to the team?
Yeah, so I mean, the way that I was most successful with Google reviews was, you know, just a simple text. So, like, I've got a copy and paste text to, you know, the group, and I always remind them, like, don't forget to send out your text to the Google reviews, because a direct text to the homeowner with the link to the Escalade Google page, that works great. But we've also got this new app where it automatically follows up multiple times for every signed customer. And so even after the initial inspection, it'll start requesting a review based on the inspection, you know, and then all the way down until, you know, we close the job. And so those follow-up apps are vital, because it was cool once we started using it. I just started seeing like 5-star reviews just come up randomly. And it's like, wow, that's so much easier than having to text them and follow up with them.
Yeah, definitely. So it's just consistency in the ask.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've kind of taken it off their plate a little bit. It's not just on them. You're not just relying on your team. You're relying on technology and automations to also to fill the gaps there where they miss out. You know, you got a big goal this year and a big jump.
10 million.
What operational things did you put in place? Did you hire some job site supervisor? Like, what did you do, you know, from an operational standpoint? Did you have to hire people in office, a production manager? What were those, you know, to go from 3 to 10? That's you got
some systems put in place. Yeah.
Outside of the sales reps, what did you put in place?
Yeah. So we did get the site supervisor for the jobs, the installs, and the site supervisor will go out and get those reviews, or not the reviews, but the neighbors, right? And talk to the neighbors and try to sell the jobs to them as well. It really helps the sales guys to not have to oversee their projects as a project manager as much, so that, you know, they don't have to run materials. They don't have to, oversee the project and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. The installers, they can go out there and sell more. And so that's a key position. And then, you know, just, what was the question again?
The operational team that you put in place, like what things did you put in place operationally to support? I know you're enjoying the episode, but let's give a shout out to another one of our sponsors. As a roofing marketing agency owner and coach, I've seen it all. Great marketing wasted because no one follows up fast enough. That's why I built Power Up Agents, not just a receptionist. Our AI handles the entire customer journey, from answering the first call to booking the job to post-job surveys and reviews. 24/7, inbound, outbound, even multilingual. If you want leads followed up instantly and customers nurtured automatically, visit the link in the description or visit the sponsors page on the Roofing Success Podcast website. Your full AI team is ready. The operational team that you put in place, like what things did you put in place operationally to support the growth that you're looking to get?
Yeah, I didn't have my coffee today. I just realized that's why. So yeah, I mean, obviously, like that 2.5-inch hailstorm, that might do it, honestly. But
yeah,
to be able to handle all that stuff that's going to be coming down, honestly, like, you just have to have a CRM that's like, up to date as far as like it needs to be running seamlessly. And that's what I like about RoofLink is it takes you down from the inspection to, signing the contract to measuring the roof, to sending out the quote to the homeowner and having them sign it. And then after they sign it, you measure the roof and you can order the materials. It's going to order the materials. It's going to schedule the labor with your crew, and then it's going to create an invoice. And so RoofLink was built by roofers, so they know the streamlined process of what it takes to scale. And so it's built for that. And it really it automates the entire process. So just making sure that RoofLink's 100% accurate, making sure that we're staying on top of closing out the jobs, and other than that, it kind of runs itself. And then bringing in other tools, like SalesRabbit, Hail Trace, just making sure the guys have all the tools they need to be successful in the position as well.
So technology is leaning on technology.
That's the only way to get
the profit.
And I think once I get to 10 million, then I'm going to have to figure some other stuff out too. It's like I broke 3 last year, and 3 is manageable. It's like at 3, it's like you don't even necessarily maybe need a CRM at 3. I don't know. You can run it off of like company cam or something, right?
Yeah.
Then you come into 3+, and it's like, okay, we got serious systems. But then when you break 10, going to 40 and 50 million, I'm sure there's all kinds of other stuff that we need to figure out, right?
Yeah. We talked about and you started out in sales, you kind of alluded like I could sell anything, like just give me a shot when you started off in roofing. What do you feel now looking at, being in the door-to-door network group and being around some successful sales trainers? What was it that you had? Like what made you an effective closer right away?
Yeah. So, I think just showing genuinely like that you care, just being an honest person. And the thing about roofing is you're helping people. So it's really, I would say it's probably one of the easiest things in the world to sell, especially when everybody's getting a new roof and then you're stuck with the ugly roof on the block. And it's like, I want a new roof. What's going on over there? And just having like that 5-star company backing you. It's really an easy thing to sell to people when they know, like, and trust you. I think that's the biggest piece is just the integrity piece. And, we can go into God for a minute. Like I said, I was struggling as an addict, and I went to that Rise Up Kings program, and we went through that. And the 4 pillars of Rise Up Kings is faith, family, fitness, and finance. And so really bringing God into the company. And I like to say it like this, like, man, like we work on the plan of addition, but God works on the plan of multiplication. And so with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. And so my relationship with God really, really was a big part of how we grew so quickly, I think, because he opens the doors of heaven and pours you out blessings that you cannot hold. And so that's so important for me. It's like there's a lot of things that happened as the business grew where I knew it wasn't me. It had to be God. And so I would say like that's probably like the number one thing that I would advise people to put at the front of their life and their company is to put God at the head, because the Bible says that, we're not called to be the head. We're not called to be the tail. We're called to be the head. And so that's what I instill in all of my employees. Every sales meeting, we've got a little devotional. Our Bible verse for the year to memorize is Ephesians 3:20. And Ephesians 3:20 says, to him who is able to do exceeding and abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that works in us. And so we're able to do exceeding and abundantly above all we can even think, according to God in us. And so that's what we're memorizing as a team. And I'm trying, God wants us to prosper. The Bible says that, he puts up kings and he brings down kings. And if you look at the history of the Bible, like Joseph, he was a king of Egypt, and Daniel was the king of Babylon, and David and Solomon were the kings of Israel. And so they were the kings of the massive nations. And so we know that, and that's what we put in front of the company is to put God first. And that's how we start every meeting. And I think that's how you really retain good people too, is you're not just helping them grow in self-development, but you're helping them grow spiritually. And I think that really speaks, I mean, that's just gonna keep those people, right? The good people, if you're helping them grow.
Yeah, and it's your culture too, right? Like so your culture attracts people that are like-minded, and it repels people that are not like-minded,
Exactly.
right? And so within what you're building is it continues to evolve and grow from there. How many of the new team members came from existing team members, or did you just go out and cold recruit? Has it gotten to that point where it's like, oh no, I know a guy too. I know someone from my church.
Some of our top salesmen came through, recruits and friends of them. Yeah, like Adam. Adam saw me pumping out roofs for Lemus Roofing, and I put him in the app, because I knew he'd be a good salesperson. I was trying to bring him onto Lemus on the old roofing company, and he's like, dude, Cole's selling like 4 roofs a week. Like, what's going on? And he's an engineer with a box company. He's making $70,000 a year. And so but once I started Escalade, Adam came on board. And then, so Adam brought on Pierre, and Pierre's just crushing. He's a killer. And then Pierre brought on Darren, and Darren is a machine. He's a military guy, and he's just going crazy. And then I got Rob in from the gym. So we all work out at the same gym. And so I recruited Rob. The good people to hire too are people at the gym, because they're dedicated. So I get Rob in the sauna, the big old country boy that sold 27 in 6 months. And he's got like 20 contracts in 2 weeks already from this hailstorm. Found him in a sauna, and he's like, I just tell you right now, he said, no matter what I do, I'm the best at what I do. Like, if you bring me in, I'll be the best. And in my back of my head, I was like, yeah, okay. But sure enough, he sure was. And everybody knows Rob's the best. And so then Rob brought on Will, and Will is a killer, dude. And so, yeah, that's super important to get those people through, because you know that they're not going to bring somebody in that can't be trusted as much, Yeah,
that's important. That's something. I wonder if there's a hiring question that leads to that answer, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like that, a good hiring question that leads to how committed they're going to be. That's something that people should think about. As you're, as you've gotten through this journey so far, looking back, what would be the advice that you would give to someone maybe starting out or stuck at, maybe they're stuck at that 3 million. They don't see that 10 million as an option. What are your thoughts there? What's some advice for these people?
Yeah. So, I would say you can, probably get to 1 to 2 million on your own, right? Selling and knocking doors all day and keeping it small. But to break it wide open, you've got to build systems. You've got to have key positions like an office manager to run all of your office. You've got to have like an operations person to run your operations and your production. You need a site supervisor to go out to those jobs, make sure it's being done, in quality, so that they can go and get those materials that are missing on the orders. And then, that way your sales guys can be out there, focusing on selling more. I think it's just really important to have those types of systems in place to scale. If that's what you're trying to do. Many people are okay just sitting around that 3 to 5 million and don't want to break through that 10 million. And I still haven't figured out how to break over the 10 million, but I think we definitely will hit that 10 this year. And that's through those types of systems and just having the CRM capability. Talk to the leaders talk to the big dogs, see if they'll let you know, what CRM are you on? What networking groups are you in? Join all the Facebook groups, join Nextdoor, get in your local community, give back to the schools, the local charter schools. I would say the schools that have more money, don't go into the hood schools as much, because I've donated there and it's like, I don't even think I got anything out of that, but go to the schools and go to the Rocker Stadium, like High Point Rockers, get on the get on the wall, get your name up on the wall, and all those people that go to the stadium and see the games, they're going to see Escalade Roofing right there. Donate to, your community, get in your local chambers of commerce. The more the merrier. Go into all the cities, go to Kernersville, go to High Point, go to Winston-Salem, go to Greensboro, get in all your chambers of commerce, because then your name's going to be listed as a roofer there, and they're going to refer you, and tap into those markets and go to those events and set up a table and just network and talk to people and just let them know you're there and give them your business card. Pass your business card out like it's going out of style. I mean, because I've passed cards out in the mailboxes and I've got a call a year later. Hey, I got your card like a year ago. I had it on my desk. I'm ready for the roof. Can you come do it? And it's like, okay, cool. You just never know what types of seeds that you plant is going to turn into something huge. Pierre was he had 1,000 business cards. He passed them out in like a month. And I was like, what do you mean you need more business cards? Like, I just gave you 1,000. He's like, yeah, they're gone. I was like, wow. Okay. So out of that 1,000, that first 1,000, he got a relationship with this company that's buying all these apartment complexes. They're in private equity. Private equity is giving them money. They're going and renovating the interior and replacing the roofs and the gutters. So he got this relationship with his company. Now, lo and behold, Pierre's the roofer to go and do these, 2,000 square massive apartment complexes. And he sold like a $618,000 project, which Pierre's probably going to make around like $50,000 on that deal. And so that's just one project. And so those types of things, you just never know what's going to come about, but just plant those seeds everywhere you go.
Yeah, man, plant those seeds. Thanks for your time today, Cole. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast.
Thank you for tuning into the Roofing Success Podcast. For more valuable content, visit roofingsuccesspodcast.com. While there, check out our sponsors for exclusive offers, shop for merchandise, and sign up for our newsletter for industry updates and tips. Also, join the Roofing Success Facebook group to connect with other professionals and stay updated on the latest trends. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, like, share, and leave a comment. Your support helps us continue to bring you top industry insights. The website link is in the description. Thanks for listening.